Welcome to the dark side. This is Manhwa, Unfiltered.
Who is under the purple robe, as her killing aura surpasses that of 6 people combined. The elderly woman addresses her as Officer Jiang Wu, saying she purchased the item with a great deal of money. What if after this she wants to kill them and crosses the line? That could be a violation of the government's authority. The emissary of Jiang Wu Yan Shangxi had already mentioned this before. Unfortunately, the police cannot control the ancient martial arts families. To supervise them, the government sent a military surveillance department and an envoy named Jiang Wu. The woman in the purple robe states that the object belongs to the empire, not to any particular family or individual. She then questions whether the martial arts family will destroy the foundations of the empire, take what isn't theirs, and act on their own authority. The elder woman asks if this too is under the control of the figure in the purple robe, demanding to see a judgment order. Chuxing thinks this must be an example of the actions taken by the military surveillance department. The young woman affirms that she has the order. Then she moves to attack the old lady. The elder, in turn, is caught off guard by a punch to the stomach. She is thrown back into the other women. The woman in the purple robe is surrounded by dead bodies. Chuxing thinks she is very powerful, able to kill 6 people at once. She opens the trunk of her car and pulls out the bronze pot the protagonist was looking for. The boy realizes that this artifact is what the woman had been searching for. Jiang Wu senses someone nearby and orders them to come out quickly. Chuxing steps out of the woods and asks if she would believe that he is also like her. She responds by revealing that she does believe it. Before he can say anything else, she punches him in the face, declaring that he must die. However, the protagonist catches her punch with his hand. With his other hand, he grips his golden sword and tells her it's not wise to get offended so easily. Jiang Wu surprises her with an attack, but she manages to escape by leaping away. The woman in the purple robe jumps and kicks the protagonist's face with all her strength. He, however, remains unfazed, surprising her. The brown-haired boy raises one arm, flinging the warrior far away. He declares that her strength is insufficient to kill him. The woman asks if he wishes to die. She removes her cloak and holds a weapon in her hand. The protagonist realizes she is very strong. Jiang Wu orders him to prepare to die and then fires a shot in his face. The bullet is about to hit his protective shield when Chu King's golden barrier breaks, causing an explosion. The woman in the purple robe smiles at the situation. She approaches the car where the magical artifact is stored and grabs it with her hand. A golden sword strikes her from behind. When she realizes it, her back is being pierced. Jiang Wu asks how he could do this and how he isn't dead. With one more strike from the golden sword, the woman collapses, dead on the ground. Chuxing realizes the bullet that hit him was so powerful that he had to seal his wound immediately. He sits on the ground and tries to use his magic to heal his injuries. He is in a lot of pain. Chuxing notices that his wound could kill him at any moment. The weapon used against him isn't anything special. His attention shifts to the bullet. The boy realizes that it was indeed the problem. The object was specifically created to deal with martial arts warriors. It's nighttime and Hua Hua is gaming on her computer at home. Suddenly, her apartment door opens and Chuxing crawls in. The girl becomes worried as he is bleeding. She asks what happened and if she should take him to the hospital. The protagonist informs her that he won't die but needs her to clean the rotting flesh with a knife. Hua Hua turns to her boyfriend and asks why he is so injured. Holding the knife, the pink-haired girl hesitates, unsure of what to do. She then remembers she can call Sister Yi. Now the two women observe the boy. Yi Changxi has an angry expression. She extends her hand and asks for the knife. Then, she plunges the blade deep into her boyfriend's neck. He screams in pain and Hua Hua watches the scene from a distance. Many tools are bloody beside him. Chuxing has his neck bandaged. The pink-haired girl asks if he's okay and Yi Changxi declares that he won't die. The brown-haired young man thinks that the situation is now going to be a problem for him. The dark-haired girl asks her companion to pour a glass of water for Chuxing. Now the two of them are alone. Yi Changxi asks with a frightening look if something happened between her boyfriend and Hua Hua. He asks what's wrong with him spending time with other women. The girl asks if he wouldn't mind if she went out with another man now. He replies that she's free to find another man. Yi Shen-se becomes furious with this kind of thinking. The brown-haired young man says that if she can't accept his mindset, they can break up now. The woman looks at him with an irritated expression. Then Shu King's girlfriend grabs his ear and says that he should have looked for her instead of running to Hoa Hoa. King explains that the people around him are very observant and some things shouldn't be known by strangers. He questions what happened during the night. The boy reveals that he killed a Yangwu messenger. The pink-haired girl enters the room and both girls are shocked to hear this information. The protagonist says he was merely defending himself. The dark-haired girl holds the bullet and remarks how amazing it is that he survived being hit by a Wang bullet. It's a nightmare for all martial arts warriors. It's an extremely powerful and difficult to make bullet. The object is manufactured by the Ministry of Military Supervision. Yi Shen-se asks what kind of Yangwu messenger he encountered last night. The boy says she was wearing a purple cloak. His girlfriend explains that the delegation is divided into 5 levels: red, yellow, green, blue, and purple. The red and purple are the weakest. Typically, a green-cloaked supervisor is eligible for Wang Chuan. The girl questions what Chu Qing took from them and how he managed to encounter the purple-cloaked supervisor who carries Wang. The boy wants to know the level of the martial arts warriors there. He doesn't understand how he doesn't know this, considering he's a soldier. The brown-haired young man reveals that when he was little, he met an old man who kept lamenting. So he bought a book and studied it. Shang-Chi asks him to stop with these random origin stories. She informs him that martial arts are divided into 5 domains, from the smallest to the greatest: Hu Jing, Wu Jing, nature, transformation, and sacred realm barrage. Each domain is divided into up to 9 levels. The girl reveals that she's in the 9th layer of Hu Jing. Soon she will break through it, but for now she's fine. At that moment, Chu King's alarm clock rings. He gets up in a hurry and says he needs to go to school or he'll be late. The dark-haired girl's hand stops him. She tells him not to push himself since he has a serious injury and needs to rest for a few days. The protagonist begins removing the bandages and wraps from his wounds. He shows how much better he already is. The young woman questions if he's even human given his incredibly strong and rapid recovery ability. She also wants to know how he prevents the evil Wang Chuan aura from spreading through his wound. The boy offers to teach her. His girlfriend can hardly believe she's about to learn a technique that every soldier would want. The brown-haired young man says he'll teach her another day but needs to go to school now. Yi Shen-se asks him to wait. She ends up scaring Hoa Hoa. The pink-haired girl calls out to Sister Yi, who barely looks back and slams the door shut. Hoa Hoa thinks she must really be angry with her. Class is starting. Chu Qin is sleeping in his seat. His blue-haired friend calls out to him again to wake up. The boy is awakened by his teacher scolding him. She tells both of them to leave the classroom and instructs Chu Qin to call his parents to come to school this afternoon. The boy asks if the teacher really needs to call his parents. She says she no longer cares whether he studies or not, but he's ruining the study of others. Xiaoren says the teacher is wrong. Her friend will also admit he was wrong. The boy promises not to disturb the other students next time. The class laughs at the situation. The teacher decides not to deal with Chu Qin anymore, but asks Xiaoren to call her parents to prevent the situation from escalating further. She wants to show Xiaoren's parents how their daughter is wasting her studies because of a boy. The protagonist says the teacher is wrong. If she's going to do this to the girl, she should do it to him too. The teacher offers a deal. If they don't score 10 points on the test, they'll need to call their parents and admit their relationship in front of the whole school. She wants to show everyone the dangers of young love. Xuxin doesn't understand how this girl could like him. A girl approaches Tang Zhang. She brings bad news that's been spreading around the school. The purple-haired girl appears irritated. In the school hallway, several girls confront Xiaoren, who asks what they want. The girls demand to know her identity. Tang Zhang's friend asks if Xiaoren really intends to steal the president's man. Xiaoren blushes and doesn't know how to respond. The purple-haired girl asks where Chu Qin is. She finds him sleeping in the classroom. She then worries that he might be crying. Tang Zhang touches her friend's shoulder and asks if he's okay. Chu Qin wakes up and asks if there's a problem. The girl thought he was crying and wants to have lunch with him to talk about some rumors that have been going around. Xiaoren shows up, apologizing and saying it's all her fault. The protagonist knows his napping during class can be disruptive, but asks if the girl really likes him. Judging by her flustered reaction, the boy thinks he was right. He hugs the blue-haired girl and says they can always be good friends. Chu-Chin thinks that in his third life, he should do something worthwhile. Tang Ziang looks irritated at the situation. The couple is having lunch with Tao Yuniao. She orders Chu-Chin to apologize to Ziang for daring to hug another woman in front of her. The brown-haired boy says that Tang Ziang's fans should apologize first. He then asks if she didn't understand what he said to Xiaoran. Tao Yuniao accuses the boy of being rebellious for not being spoiled by his girlfriend. However, he says that he's the one who will spoil her instead. The orange-haired girl stifles a laugh. Tang Ziang says she's waiting for Chu-Chin to spoil her and asks what he will do. The protagonist tells her to wait and see. Recovering from her laughter, the young woman warns the brown-haired boy to stay away from other women and resolve his issues outside. She then shouts that she's serious. Chu-Chin grabs the girl's blouse and pulls her clothes. He asks if, when she talks about staying away from other women, he should also stay away from Tao Yuniao. The girl feels embarrassed. Tang Ziang tells her friend she can leave. Then she says she'll leave as well. When the two are alone, the purple-haired girl asks if her boyfriend is upset because she doesn't spoil him. The protagonist reveals that he's different from others and doesn't expect that from her. Chu-Chin genuinely likes his girlfriend so she can trust him. The purple-haired girl is excited about this. Changing the subject, she talks about the recipe he gave her. It turns out she can't use it to practice martial arts. Instead, it's a poison. The protagonist is sure the recipe he gave was meant to help practitioners improve their magic. Tang Ziang says that resuction poisons are very special and that labs don't know about them. However, the recipe is very important and highly valuable, so they will take it for whatever price Chu-Chin sets. The boy thinks that a recipe meant to improve cultivation becomes poison for the practitioner. He needs to study this carefully. The purple-haired girl reveals that this is very special for the Tang family. If he sets a low price, it will be an insult and a waste of time. The boy asks how much she thinks it's worth. The girl estimates the price at 200 million. Chu-Chin thinks that if he sells all his recipes, he could become rich. He closes the deal. He thinks he needs to buy some medicinal ingredients that can only be obtained from the Tang family. Tang Ziang asks if he doesn't want to cultivate and make medicines. Her boyfriend asks if he can't do it. The girl reveals it doesn't matter because in the entire empire, no men make medicines. Maybe he can. The protagonist thinks the world is filled with hatred toward men. Tang Ziang wipes some dirt from her boyfriend's cheek. She then licks her finger. Chu-Chin asks what she's doing. The girl wants to know if he's embarrassed now. She suggests he doesn't practice ancient martial arts. If he wants to defend himself, she can protect him. The young brown-haired man notices that he doesn't seem well. This could be due to his treatment. Tang Ziang hands him a healing potion. The girl says that if he continues practicing martial arts, they will have to break up since she doesn't want her future husband to become infertile. The protagonist wonders if ancient martial arts could really affect that kind of relationship. It's nighttime and Chu-Chin enters his home. After a day, the collar of his shirt is grabbed by his father, who begins hitting him, saying that at least he still remembers how to come home. The man stops when he hears someone calling him. It's Yi Kangxi taking the blame for this because she was too drunk the night before. The boy thinks that explanation might actually make things worse. He wonders why Yi Kangxi is in his house. The brown-haired boy's father thinks his son has been corrupted. Chu-Chin asks Yi Kangxi what she's doing there. The young woman offers him a remedy to heal him. Then, with an irritated look, she says he doesn't need it anymore. She tells him that her family is friends with the Tang family and asks how he obtained this medication. Chu-Chin asks who told her he doesn't need the potion anymore. Right after, he declares that he will teach her a method to handle the Wang Chuan bullet, and Yi Kangxi asks if he's sure about that. The protagonist says they'll start slowly. The two hold hands and a blue aura surrounds them. Then the power begins to activate and the girl starts to feel the pressure. The brown-haired young man asks if she's okay. His girlfriend says it was very painful. Chu-Chin offers her the potion to drink quickly. He questions himself about what really happened. The meridian usually breaks when he places the aura. Unfortunately, there's a cure for this. The last time he healed Aunt Yi, the aura also entered her body. However, she didn't experience this situation. Now I'll need to include the aura into her body. Chu-Kin uses his magic to try to produce a healing effect. When he asks his girlfriend if it still hurts, she responds that it feels comfortable now. Perhaps that's why Tang Ziang said the formula was poisonous. The protagonist thinks he needs to investigate more martial arts methods to understand the differences between men and women in this world. He asks him to do it again. The boy asks her to put her clothes on. At that moment, his father enters the room and asks if they're studying in bed. Chu-Kin tries to explain, and the girl says she was lying down because she was tired. Then she declares that she's going home. The brown-haired young man says he didn't do anything with Yi Kangxi and now he's going to sleep. He knows these abnormalities need to be studied in depth, but for now, the most important thing is the scabbard for his sword. At the scene of the previous day's battle, a woman in a green cloak observes that only a small amount of blood remains. She says that seeing an assassin isn't like seeing an ancient martial arts warrior, but rather a Taoist. The girl accompanying her in a blue cloak asks what she means. The one in the green cloak wants them to check the hospital in Jimin, then investigate the flow of drugs on the black market, and send someone to inspect the auction house. Her companion asks if they're going to Jimin now. The other responds yes, as the fiancé her family arranged for her is in Jimin. He is the son of Miss Chu, and they are going to visit him. Chu-Kin suddenly sneezes in his room. He wonders who might be talking about him. Chu-Kin is in his room with a bronze jar, trying to refine his sword. He opens his eyes and realizes that finally, with this scabbard, his sword will no longer be damaged and will soon return to its original form. He raises his hand and suddenly a stone mask appears. The protagonist thinks that if he needs to fight in a future battle, he should use this mask. What remains is the ancient wine. The only thing that makes it special is that it caused many fighters to race to their deaths to obtain it. Suddenly, his phone rings. It's Yi Chengxi inviting him to her house for dinner. In Yuji's private kitchen, the three are dining together. The protagonist's aunt reveals that she's not sure if her remedy, which can boost combat strength in a short time, has been perfected. However, recently families have been seeking it, and she would like some if it's available. The young man says he doesn't have any with him, but he can make them by next week. Miss Yi asks how much it will cost. Chu-Sing says he doesn't need money, he only wants to borrow the ancient martial arts training method from the family. The atmosphere becomes tense and he wonders if he said something wrong. The woman declares that this is a heritage more important than the lives of everyone in the family, and she cannot simply pass it on to outsiders. The protagonist is startled by this information. His aunt advises him not to practice these martial arts. She wants him to stop being a warrior, as it's pointless. The young man tries to think of how to explain why men have trouble practicing these martial arts. Yi Shengxi asks if the technique could be taught if Chu Xing were a family member. His mother responds that it would only be possible after marriage. The protagonist reveals that he cannot marry. However, Mrs. Yi says that if he doesn't want to ruin everything, he should stop talking about it. Her daughter looks sad. The boy knows he needs to investigate this further. He thinks of asking Jiayu and also paying off the 2 million debt. His white-haired friend asks since when he has so much money, and if he's secretly dealing spiritual stones. The boy doesn't disclose where his money comes from, but says he needs a training method. Jiayu asks if he seriously thinks an ancient martial arts method can be obtained so easily, and if he has ever practiced it. Chu-Ching wants to change his training, but something is wrong with him. Jiayu laughs and his friends comment. The brown-haired boy asks what's wrong with a man practicing martial arts. His white-haired companion says that men can't do that, but Chu-Xing doesn't seem to heed his words. He wonders if martial arts are genuinely dangerous for all men. Jiayu says that this isn't something a man can do at the start. To force the training, one would need to be castrated or exploited. Now the protagonist recalls that Tang Ziang and Aunt Yi were right. His companion says he can help by contacting a hospital to schedule this castration. The boy states that he only needs a set of self-defense techniques and asks where he can buy them. Jiayu reveals that he doesn't have any and doesn't think his friend will be able to buy them. Families with these techniques would rather destroy their house than sell them. Chu-Xing realizes he didn't expect women to monopolize the world so much. Perhaps they're afraid men might learn the exercises and destroy the world. The boy's phone rings. It's Hua Hua, informing him that some deliveries from the Tang family have arrived. Now the young man can make the medicines. It's nighttime, and the brown-haired boy is using his magic in his room. He creates a container from which golden pellets emerge. He realizes that making medicine is very complicated, but with this mask, it becomes easier. Finally, he perfects the Kwang Yidan pills that increase the user's power by 30%. Chuahu timidly opens the door to his room. Chuxing says she can come in since he's finished. She asks what he was doing. The protagonist replies that he was making medicine. The pink-haired girl wonders if that isn't something only the Tang family can do. Chuxing asks if she thinks he's lying. Chuahu wants to know if he'll go home now that he's finished his work. Her boyfriend hugs her in response, and then he kisses her. The boy asks if she wants him to go home or stay. His girlfriend wishes for him to stay by her side. Chuahua is the girl who most resembles a normal woman in Chu King's world. However, her reaction wasn't shy when she spoke. The boy picks her up and lays her on the bed. The girl informs him that they can't do this because she's in a risky period and doesn't want to get pregnant. It would be bad for the brown-haired boy if she got pregnant, and rumors might spread. The protagonist asks if she's saying he isn't responsible enough. King realizes he didn't sleep well that night. A boy calls him, saying his sister asked him to come to her. The brown-haired boy asks what she wants with him. Yimao says he doesn't know but questions if he's going to become his brother-in-law. And what about Tang Ziang in this situation? The brown-haired boy asks if that's what bothers his sister or if Yimao likes Tang Ziang. His friend reveals that the only girl he likes is Tao Yuniao and asks him not to tell anyone. The protagonist thinks his friend likes brainless women. He offers to help his friend win over Tao Yuniao, but he must stop talking in such an embarrassing way. Suddenly, the boy remembers that men in this world are almost like Barbies and enjoy gossiping. His friend asks if he's going to win over the girl. Chuxing promises that she will even want to date him, but he thinks about whether he will have to force or threaten her. The protagonist comes across Yi Chengxi leaning against his car. He asks why she came to see him today. The woman offers him milk tea. Her brother asks why she's so cruel and where his drink is. The girl replies that there's no drink for her brother and orders her boyfriend to drink it before it spoils. Chuxing wonders if Yi Chengxi might still be upset about yesterday. The young woman explains that she stood in line for a long time to buy it and asked him to drink it all. The protagonist complies, but as he finishes, his vision begins to blur. He realizes the woman drugged him again. The cup falls from his hand, and the boy thinks how foolish he is. He passes out, and Yi Chengxi places him in the car. Yimao is shocked by his sister's behavior. She warns him not to get involved any further and tells him to take an Uber home. Then she speeds off in her car. Sometime later, now at night, King wakes up in a bed with Yi Chengxi on top of him. The boy panics and asks what she did. The young woman tells him not to move too much. Then she leans in and kisses him. The boy falls into despair. Chuxing asks his girlfriend if she's never had any experience with all her connections. At that, the girl stands up. She reveals that she only controls them and nothing more. Besides, boyfriends aren't just for that. Finally, she hands him a book. The book is the Yi family's inscription diary. The woman says he needs to be her for the book to be revealed to him. The protagonist assures her that he already considers her his wife and is willing to do anything for her. Yi Shangxi says he doesn't need to do anything for her, but she's willing to do anything for her future husband. Then she pulls him close. Their kiss seems to carry a kind of magic. The dark-haired young woman asks what her boyfriend put in her mouth. Xuxing says it's something good, and she'll find out soon enough. Yi Chengxi begins to exude a blue aura. Her companion is amazed by the ancient martial arts created by women. In this world, women are born with changes in their meridians. And once they absorb a lot of spiritual power, they prepare to use ancient martial arts to transform spiritual power into internal strength. Men, on the other hand, don't have proper methods to absorb the power. If they practice martial arts, they'll explode and die. The emergence of this power allowed women to dominate the world. However, the hero hopes to change the method so that men can practice too. Suddenly, his companion opens her eyes and realizes she has broken through the Wuding barrier. Now she is in the third layer of the Wuding realm. Xuxing gave her the ancient wine, which is highly beneficial for women. The woman wants to know where he got it. However, the young man says it's a chastity secret. Because of this, Yi Changxi wants to see if he's still stronger than her. The girl advances to punch her boyfriend. However, her hand is stopped and all the force is contained. Chuxing holds his woman in his arms. He whispers that he can't handle this. The dark-haired girl asks for more wine so they can continue what they were doing later. The boy asks if that wasn't enough. She pushes him onto the bed. The girl says she's still Yi Chengxi and will show him who's in charge. Chuxing wonders how he manages to live with his energy drained. Fortunately, he had taken the medicinal drink to keep himself distracted beforehand. The boy comes across Tao. She says Tang wants to see him. The protagonist gets a bad feeling. Then he heads to the extracurricular sports office. The purple-haired young woman asks where he was last night and what he was doing. In response, the young man says he was with Shen Xai at a hotel. Tang Xiang slams the table hard and stands up. The girl accuses him of being shameless for admitting that so easily to her. The protagonist asks if he would be her only partner if they were together. The girl realizes her family wouldn't allow that. Chuxing says everyone should have equal rights. His girlfriend asks how men and women can have equal rights. The boy reveals that he will show the world what the word human truly means. Tang Xiang says he needs to study hard to achieve that. The protagonist suggests that if she doesn't understand him, they can go their separate ways. The girl asks if he's going to leave without saying anything to her. Then she questions if all men are like that. Chuxing tells her to say what she wants to say. She admits she likes him and that in the future, he must be her husband. However, what happened has made her furious, and she wishes she could kill Yi Shenxi. The young man says he won't allow that to happen. Tang Xiang reveals that's why she gave him a second chance. She suggests an arm wrestling competition. If he loses, Yi Shenxi will lose her hands. Chuxing asks if that's all. The purple-haired girl doesn't believe he can prove he's better than her. The protagonist orders them to begin. Tang Xiang declares she will never surrender to him. Chuxing says there's no need. A golden aura surrounds them both. Tang Xiang is using all her power. Her boyfriend notices that she's stronger than Yi Shenxi. He worries about the consequences of losing. Chuxing thinks he can afford to lose and grabs one of his magical pills. He crushes it tightly, boosting his power. With ease, he slams Tang Xiang's hand down. The girl wonders how that's possible. Her boyfriend asks her to keep her word. The purple-haired girl says she'll let it go this time, but there won't be a next time. Finally, she shouts that if they don't get married, she won't leave him alone. It's nighttime. Chuxing enters his house. A girl in a green dress is in the living room. The boy's mother didn't expect him to return tonight. He explains that he had to come back because his teacher was busy. The girl in the green dress introduces herself as Gong Yu and says she's his fiancée. The boy asks her not to talk nonsense. The woman, however, shows him a copy of the marriage contract. The protagonist opens the document and looks at it. He doesn't know who signed the contract and doesn't recognize it, so he wishes the woman a happy life. Gong Yu asks if he recognizes her or not, but says his uncles definitely will. Chuxing's mother says the contract was signed by the family head, his mother, and his grandmother. Apparently, Chu Alan has significant influence over his parents, and Gong Yu is bold enough to threaten the protagonist's parents in front of him. King tears the contract in half. The girl says he was very brave to do that, but Grandma Chu's emotions won't be so pleasant, although she promises not to tell her. At that moment, the brown-haired boy thinks this woman needs to get herself together. He declares he's going out to dinner tonight. His fiancée will accompany him so they can develop feelings for each other. The girl says Chu Kidding seems to have little reason to want to help his parents, and she'd rate him a 2 out of 10. The protagonist reveals that regardless of her score, he's been wanting to hit her for a long time. However, the girl jumps away. Gong Yu asks him to compliment her since they just met, and he can't want to hit her so soon. The brown-haired boy says her logic is flawed, and that he'll start when he knows where to find her. Gong Yu says she's a lady of the Chu family and that Qing should be grateful she wants to marry him. The boy thanks her and then says he doesn't care, aiming a kick at her. He's surprised when the girl counters with her leg, aiming a kick at him as well. After being pushed back, Chuxing realizes this woman is even stronger than Tang Xiang. The girl in the green dress says he's too handsome to get so angry. The protagonist thinks that if the fight continues like this, he will definitely lose. He uses his power with one hand and summons his great golden sword. The girl is surprised and then reaches inside her dress. The protagonist appears with a yellow sword in his hand, trying to attack the woman. The tension between them remains high. Gong Yu, attempting to make peace, asks Xu Xing to calm down, raising her arms to show goodwill. The boy is lost in thoughts, analyzing the woman's strength as superior to others he has encountered. She interrupts his thoughts and informs him that he is qualified to be her husband. With a disdainful tone, he recalls her rejection of the proposal, and the blonde woman explains that she also wasn't in agreement with that arrangement. Emotionally, she shares a story about how, as a girl, she was unpopular with men and was surprised that her betrothed was a strong and handsome man. King begins to feel pressured. Gong warns him that there would be consequences if he disregarded the marriage. Curious, the young man asked about the possibility of being accepted into the National University. The blonde laughs loudly, expressing how impossible that would be. Angry, he walks away, thinking about revenge when he eventually gets into the university. Gong follows him, chattering away and starting multiple conversations at once. Xu Xing quickens his pace, trying to escape the completely inconvenient situation. In an attempt to connect, she begins sharing secrets about the men of the university, leaving the boy embarrassed. The protagonist feels tense in this uncomfortable situation when suddenly he feels the woman unexpectedly grab his butt. He retaliates with a swing of his fist, fully energized and filled with anger. The woman tells him to calm down. As if teasing him, Xu Winks places his hand on her chest and says she'll stop playing around. 2 days later, a sports event takes place in a lively stadium filled with cheering fans. Xu Xing keeps thinking about that uncomfortable encounter and contemplates a way to get accepted into the university. The boy next to him asks why he isn't on the basketball team, and he explains that someone manipulated his expulsion. Xiao shows up at Xu's request to remind him there's a game that day and not to forget to go. The protagonist, focused on his book, replies that he doesn't have time for that. The messenger, in a demanding tone, snatches the book from the protagonist's hands and tells him he has to go regardless. The book is thrown away from where the discussion is taking place. Xiao Ao, visibly irritated, turns and starts walking away. Overwhelmed with anger, the protagonist turns to resolve the situation, grabbing a book nearby. Another book is thrown, this time hitting Xiao on the head. The boy, furious, yells and curses at Xu Qing, asking if he's tired of living. With a furious expression, the protagonist, fists clenched, faces the boy, ready for a fight. With total confidence and impatience, Xu Xing orders Xiao O to retrieve his book without hesitation. The messenger, with a mocking tone, questions the command that fetched the book. Enraged, full of anger, he lunges at Xu Qing, saying he was getting too cocky. However, the protagonist simply dodges, letting the boy fall. Xu Qing's friend, watching the entire scene, holds Xiao Ao back, preventing a fight. This time, Xiao bites him, causing him to complain in pain. Xu Xing, out of patience, grabs both of them by the arms and pulls them apart. Holding them with an air of superiority and authority, he questions what they could do if they wanted to fight. He twists Xiao's arm with full force, causing him pain. The boy responds with insults, expressing his discomfort. However, those insults only irritate the protagonist further, who demands an apology. In addition to apologizing for the insults and the situation, Xu Qing also demands an apology for how Xiao treated his friend and Yi Mao. At that moment, the vice president appears, observing the entire situation. She sternly states that this is no place for fighting and orders them to go to the principal's office with her. Xiao screams, begging and demanding help. He is convinced she will help him and claims he isn't at fault. However, Xu Xing explains the entire situation, even showing his friend's bite mark. The vice president questions why he responded with more aggression. The protagonist defends himself, saying he didn't want Xiao Ao to continue his violent behavior and suggests recognition from the student council. The woman proposes hearing the other side of the story and questions Xiao Ao, who is crying. Completely overcome with emotion, he begins to vomit. There's so much vomit that the vice president steps back and everyone panics. Realizing everyone is watching, his only reaction is to run away, crying and embarrassed. Meanwhile, Xu Qing suggests to his friend that they go to the infirmary, expressing concern for Tang Xiang. The protagonist can't understand why Yi Mao seems so frightened, and Yi Mao simply states that he prefers not to get involved in trouble. At that moment, the boy realizes that his friend is actually quite brave despite the situation. The vice president runs to the student council to report the incident. She was telling Tang Ziyang what her boyfriend Chu Qing had just done. She began trying to change Tang's opinion about the protagonist, and Tang responded stating that you would not be deceived by Chu Qing. The vice president, in a somewhat intrusive tone, suggested that Tang should break up with her boyfriend, but she didn't react well to that type of interference, and with a completely serious and stern expression made it very clear. The colleague, apologizing with a few gestures, asked her to forget everything she had said. Ziyang warned that she already knew about the situation and that Chu Qing had been the one to cause the problems first. The vice president countered by stating that Chu Qing was very cunning and that Tang wasn't noticing it. After that commotion, while they were in the infirmary, some of Chu Qing's classmates showed up wanting to take action. Zhu defended his informant friend, questioning why Chu Qing had hit him. The protagonist, in a mocking tone, threw a key on the ground, interrupting the situation. He provoked the boy in an attempt to start another conflict. He didn't flinch and informed him that Tang had asked Chu Qing to attend the game. The protagonist stated that he wouldn't go, but he took responsibility for the incident and asked the boys to leave. Zhu continued his provocation, questioning if he would break his promise to participate in the game. Chu Qing then decided that he would participate in the match as agreed. In the hall, even cheerleaders began their performance. Meanwhile, the presidents of the student councils from rival schools were waiting for the game to begin. They stare at each other without any friendliness or attempt to get closer. Chu Qing and his friend were approaching the venue. He was surprised to notice that the presidents of the councils from both schools were there. One of the players from the team waved at the two, catching their attention. He invited them to come closer. His name was Zhang. The boy prepared 2 chairs for them to wait until they were called. Chu Qing, being very perceptive, noticed something suspicious about one of the chairs. He masked his suspicion and sat in the other chair. For a moment, the boy thought he would exact his revenge, but was surprised to see that Chu Qing hadn't fallen for the trap. Disappointed, he moved away, joining his other friends. The protagonist then realized that they were still seeking revenge. Zhang approached with a note asking how he felt sitting on the bench. He then realized that she was still upset with him. When he took the note to respond, Chu Qing was going to warn her not to sit in the adjacent chair. However, it was too late. She ended up sitting in the chair covered in glue. Unintentionally, he laughed at the situation while she became irritated with everything that was happening. Zhang then stood up to leave the area but was caught off guard. Her pants stuck to the wooden surface, leaving her underwear unintentionally exposed. She was completely embarrassed by the situation and was left speechless. He started teasing her, mentioning that her underwear was pink,